learning how to use all the skills we've made in OnShape to create a final project. So today we're going to be going through how to make a jar in OnShape. So let's think about how a jar is structured. First we have the actual jar aspect of it, and then we have our lid. So let's start by creating the actual jar. So how does a jar look? It's basically a circle which is extruded to form a cylinder with a hole cut out of it. And we do know how to convert all of these into an OnShape method. We first make our sketch as a circle, extrude it to be a cylinder, and then we can make our hole. So go ahead and give that a try and follow along. So firstly, we're going to be creating a sketch on the top plane, and this is going to be a circle. Use the center point as your origin, and make your diameter fairly large, as this is going to be a jar. So 2 inches might be too small, so I'm going to make my diameter 6 inches. Now go ahead and finish off your sketch, zoom out, and now we're going to be extruding this figure. So extrude your circle to your desired length and make sure that it looks somewhat like a jar or some kind of cup. I'm going to make mine 7 inches and finish off the extrude. So now we have a jar, but it's completely filled in the center, so we're not going to be able to put anything in it, which means we need to cut out our hole from the center. So click on your top plane and create a sketch on the face of this extrude. And once again, it's going to come off of the center. And you can use the dimension feature to make sure that you'll still have enough space for a sufficient rim. I'm going to make this 5 inches as the diameter. Finish up your sketch. And now we're going to create a hole that goes through here and all the way to the bottom. But if we make this hole go all the way through, we're not going to have anything at the bottom to make sure the items don't fall out. So let's open the extrude feature. Go to the solid section and click remove. And now we can see OnShape gives us a shadow of how deep we want to go. So a good stopping point would be about 1/2 inch from the base of your computer's reference. And so I'm going to make my depth 6.5 inches. And that would be 1/2 inch of space between the edge and the top. And so now we have what looks kind of like a jar. And a good idea at this stage is to use the fillet feature and round these edges. I'm going to make the fillet length or width 0.1 inches and do the same for the inside. Now go ahead and do the same for your bottom as well. And there you have it. This is the base of your jar. So the next thing that our jar needs is a lid, otherwise everything's gonna fall out. So let's create another part studio by clicking this plus icon and click Create Part Studio. And this will allow us to create another aspect of this jar project. So as you remember, in our first part studio, this was a circle created with a diameter of around 6 inches. So we're going to do the same for the jar over here. And so the lid is also going to have the same diameter. So when we create our sketch on the top plane, we're going to do the same as we did for the jar by creating another circle with the diameter of 6 inches. And then we're going to extrude said circle. And you can make your depth less than the actual jar is. I think a good reference would be 1 to 2 inches. I'm going to make mine 1.5. And then finish off your extrude. And once again, you can use the fillet feature on these edges if you want. Alright, so once you finish filleting the edges, another good idea as a part of this jar would be to take out some of the center just so that it would fit flush on top of the jar. So you can find the base or bottom of your cap of the jar and create a sketch on this face. And now create a center point circle that comes out around 5 inches. Now do the same as we did for the actual aspect of the jar and use the extrude feature to remove some content from the inside of this lid. And there you go. That's the lid to your jar. So, another thing that jars have on their lid is a little knob to ensure you can pull and push on top of the lid. So what we're going to do is create a new part studio of a handle for the lid on the jar. So we can do this by utilizing the revolve feature. And if we remember how to use the revolve feature, first we have a circle and a revolve axis. So let's select the front plane and create the diameter of our circle. A good reference, since our circle doesn't have to be so big, we can make the diameter 2 inches. Actually, for this project, even 1 inch might be sufficient. Now go ahead and add your 3-point arc and make sure that the radius of your arc is half that of the diameter. So this will be 0.5 inches. Then finish off your sketch and create a new sketch on this plane that we can make our revolve axis on. And this line will pass right through the semicircle. Finish this off and use the revolve feature. Remember that your axis will be this outside line. And now we finished all aspects of the jar. So in our assembly, we're going to go and insert all our parts. So first start by inserting your part studio 1, which will be the actual jar. Then insert your part studio 2, which will be the lid to the jar. And it's okay if they aren't perfectly aligned. And this will be the jar's handle. So now we've inserted all our parts, and the last and final step of this project is to move them on top of each other so they don't look like a jumbled mess. So go ahead and use these arrows as a part of the move feature. And keep changing your angle view by right-clicking or using pan. So continue to align your components. Another good way to do this is to select the center point and just drag. Alright, so once your jar looks fairly aligned, I think that is the best that I can do as of now. Go ahead and do the same for the lid of your jar, and the same for your handle as well. And a really important key part of this step is to keep changing your view so that you have all angles taken into account. And always remember that you can click back on your home view if you ever get out of scope. All right. There we go. So once you've done that, you have completed your first project in OnShape. Bye!